Amelia joins me now. So you and your sister bought a boutique hotel in Queenstown when you were both in your early 20s, and you managed to turn that around. How did Preno grow out of that?
Yeah, I was quite new to the hotel industry when we took over. And I think over the time that we had the property, I was just so surprised by the amount of repetitive admin that went on in the hotel and double handling of data and booking information. And it just seemed too slow and painful. So, I have a background in IT, studying IT before that. So, just trying to fix my own problem, Preno just kind of grew out of that.
Okay,
yeah.
And then you joined an accelerator program and went through capital raises. There are some unique characteristics of growing a SaaS business like Preno. What have you discovered about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is a revenue model that is used by many, and I think there's a lot of New Zealand companies that have set a very good example, like Xero, for instance. But I think the unique characteristics are really just speed as well. So because usually you're often in a competitive space and what you develop can also be copied. So it's just about finding that unique position in the market and doing it as fast as possible.
And how did you manage to do that with Preno?
I mean, we're still working on it. But I think for us, we've got a clear niche that we're trying to help, and it's similar properties to what I run as well, used to run. So it's independent properties up to about 250 units in size, and we're very much focused on New Zealand, Australia, and the UK. So for us, having that focus allows us to move faster, I suppose.
And we should probably just say, what does Preno do?
Yeah. Preno is a property management software for any short-term accommodation. So could be for lodges and resorts, not just hotels, motels also. But it's the core system that they use every day, so 24 hours a day actually. So when you check into a property, it's what they manage all their bookings and guest information and billing through.
So 2020, lockdowns around the world, affecting, I'm sure, your customers, of which you have, 500 or so customers, hotels, lodges, and smaller accommodation providers. How did it affect Preno? How did you manage your way through 2020?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, we didn't really know the impact that COVID would have. It was just unknown for everybody, I think. I was just really pleased with how our team adapted to helping our customers. So we quickly switched into talking to customers a lot and offering any help on their subscriptions we could, just trying to take away, there were so many kind of unknowns for them, and trying to take away some stress that we could, in certain areas that we could help. That was our main priority. But we also didn't build Preno for an environment where there were no bookings coming through. I mean, nobody could kind of imagine that in tourism, I suppose, looking back. But we're really impressed by how much value our product was able to give to these properties during that time. And to be able to still bring on new properties and help them as well was really great to see as well.
So you grew through that period?
Yeah, we did. We grew fairly well, better than we were anticipating. So it was nice to see. I mean, it was hard work as well, but yeah, it's great to see. Yeah.
So we now have a trans-Tasman bubble, perhaps more on the horizon. How do you see the accommodation sector emerging out of this pandemic? What's going to have to change?
Yeah, well, I suppose the announcement of the trans-Tasman bubble is still very recent, but it is an important first step for these accommodation properties. It's the first major piece of good news they've had in a very long time. And I think going into 2021, there was a lot of unknowns for these businesses, whether they'd get through the year. So I think having any kind of extra tourism boost coming into the country, whether that's in Australia or New Zealand, we've got customers across both, is going to be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. And do you see the accommodation sector looking different when things get back to normal, or are we just going to pick up where we left off?
Oh, I think it's going to be a long recovery. I think it's going to take a long time before we see the kind of tourism we were seeing before COVID. But yeah, I think that a lot of our properties have shown some incredible resilience. So I think that they'll do really well out of it, I think, in the end. But it's going to be hard work for them. So yeah.
And how about Preno? What are your goals for the next year and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, it's we've got a lot planned in terms of adding to the product. So we have like a fortnightly release for our new products for our customers. So there's a lot of exciting things to come. But we're also looking at growing further into, say, our core markets of New Zealand and Australia and the UK. Yeah.
So you didn't set out to start an IT business, but that's what you've ended up doing. What do you think has been driving you along this pathway?
I think I just get really passionate on things and just get hooked and then won't give it up. And so I think that happened. I was just fixated on fixing this problem for hoteliers, and that's how it kind of grew into Preno. And I think now it's about just getting it out further into the world and helping more properties. So I think that was the driver, I think, for us.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Amelia Gain.